Previously, on Wisdom Zombie TV.
And yeah, FTO is a pretty fair game. Wait, what's that? Where am I? I abandoned my ship and now I'm... Oh, I'm on Rimworld! Great! I may have lost the ability to torture my crewmates, but now... now I have colonists. Well, I'll review Rimworld since I'm here, which is fine. This is also a game that I love, and that I have discovered late since it was released back in 2018 and I played it for the first time in August 2023. What can I say? I'm a late bloomer. And once again, I was not convinced by it. The graphics, no animations, and Rimworld has a really strong learning curve. Sure, it has a pretty good tutorial, but between the management, building, combat, agriculture, this game is very complex. You have all of those menus on screen, which some of them even have menus inside of the menus. But if the game is so uninviting, why do I love it? Why was it so well received by gamers and critics alike? Why does that guy have an emoji on his face? Is this game really worth the hassle? Well, Jimmy, it is. Rimworld is a colony management simulator. In this game, you land on a planet with your trusty colonists and you have to build an entire settlement, while an AI storyteller will try to destroy all of your progress by any means necessary. But that which makes it worth it is also that which will give you the most problems. Once you learn how to use all of the tools presented to you by the game, you will be able to create a nice, prosperous and great colony, or organ harvesting, torture loving, nudist drug addict colony. Yes, all of this is possible. Join me as we crash land on the Rim and pray to Randy that he shows mercy on us. Our story begins with Tynan Sylvester, who started working on Rimworld in 2012, and then founded his company, Ludion Studios, on June 15, 2013, in order to work on Rimworld. The game was released on Steam in early access on October 17, 2018. Don't worry, I am done with the dates, but not with the numbers. It was such a success that by August 2020, the estimated revenue of Rimworld was over $100 million, becoming one of the most popular indie games on Steam. But why was it so well received? What made it different from all the other games at the time? Well, there are two major differences which explain the success of Rimworld. The first one, listen up PUBG! This is how you do early access right. They would watch streams and YouTube videos or go on forums, seeing what they can implement or what they can improve.
One of the things I've learned over time is just how much value can come out of a player base, especially when you get those enthusiasts who really get into it.
The other difference is that Tynan had a vision. He was inspired by Dwarf Fortress. He wasn't inspired by the gameplay though, and certainly not by the graphics, but by the stories the community around this game created on forums. Well, people would play the game, take screenshots and create whole stories based on their playthroughs. Stories of victory and defeat, brotherhood and betrayal, of alcoholism and drugs. Yay! After reading some of those stories, Tynan would come to see games in a different way, not just as games, as a challenges to win, but as a tool for creating story and feeling deep emotions. But don't take my word for it, let's hear it from the man himself.
It's not a game. Rimworld is not a game. And I have to keep repeating it, and I have for years, like a mantra, because it reframes everything, and it's so easy to slip back into the game framing. Nor is Rimworld a story. I'm not here to tell a story. The game is not there to tell a story. Rimworld is a story generator. The player interacts with it, and stories emerge from that interaction.
Did he succeed in this? I would say yes, because of the stories I see on Reddit and whole ass YouTube channels dedicated to narrating entire playthroughs of Rimworld, and they are quite successful, so people are interested in that stuff. But how can you be immersed with such simplistic graphics? Well, this is the point. As Tynan puts it himself, a story is not a series of images, but a series of events. This is why they choose to portray Rimworld as a 2D game, try to purify the graphics as much as possible, having them with the least amount of details. This is also why he wouldn't implement animations or voice acting, because the less they show you, the more the player would interpret how the characters react and feel in certain situations. Now that you understand the vision on which Rimworld is based, let us look at the gameplay and see how all of those ideas were implemented. Well, as I said before, the gameplay is rough when you start. It has so much management tools built inside of it, and all of those menus are important to learn and use efficiently, otherwise, you die! To explain how the gameplay works and how to manage your colony, let's look at what a typical playthrough will go like. You choose a starting scenario and colonists as well as the location of your colony. The colonists will drop in the middle of the map and your story begins. So at first, we need to build a shelter and plant some crops. And for that we have the architect menu, which will present you with all the actions the colonists can do. This ranges from building to harvesting, mining or cutting trees. You can build whatever you want using whatever material you have at your disposal. But you may notice something. You do not have complete control over your colonists, which can sometimes be a real pain when you look at them and they do everything except what you want them to do. Go build the house before you have your mental breakdown, Susan! The way you can influence the actions of your colonists is by assigning priorities on the tasks they can do by using the work menu. Those tasks range from constructing, harvesting, cooking, doctoring, being a patient, firefighting, etc. But I have to say that not having complete control over your colonists' actions is pretty good design, because you do not feel like a god who can control everything, but more like a manager of the colony. To understand this point, let's look more in depth at the colonists. Most people would call the colonists pawns, but I do not like this term because they are more than that. When you select your colonists, you will see that they have names and backstories, as well as some positive and or negative traits. They have a family tree and they will create different relations with the other people in the colony. They will become friends, rivals, or they might even marry and divorce later. They'll also have different needs in order to stay happy. A couple will want to share a bed, and rivals will not be happy if you put them in the same room. You will have to look at those relations and needs, and if you don't, they will get unhappy. And that leads to mental breakdowns, which can range between a colonist just wandering sadly as a 2005 emo listening to Linkin Park, to them literally murdering the first person they see.
What are you gonna do?
I'm going to kill them all, sir.
But when you choose your colonists, you will also notice that they have statistics, which correspond to the different work that needs to be done. But what about those little flames? Well, that means they have a passion, or a burning passion for that skill. And you should be very sensitive to that, because if they have a passion for something, they will learn that skill faster and be happy while they work. Or else, they might just exhume a friendly corpse and put it in the middle of the living room. Fun stuff! But what happens next? Well, you will receive events created by your storyteller AI. In those events, you may get anything ranging from raids to diseases, volcanic winter, and a bunch of other fun stuff. It spices things up. You never know when those events will come into play, and this stresses you out while you play because you're always rushing to build and to be prepared for those events. Or else... And well, we all know what volcanic winter and diseases are like. They're pretty fun and wholesome. But how do raids play out? Well, let's look at the combat. To understand the raid mechanic, I need to talk about wealth. Each time the storyteller sends a raid, he will look at the wealth of your colony, which builds up with everything you have in your home area. That means mined rocks, wood, clothes, food, colonies, structures, everything. When a raid begins, you can draft your colonists in order to gain complete control over them for a while. You will have to position them behind cover and doing some maneuvers in order to beat the enemy, and this part is very fun to do. But do not underestimate the power of good melee soldiers. They are very good once you close the distance between you and the enemy. It is good to have both ranged and melee soldiers. Be balanced, as all things should be. Now, let me present the different raids you will have to contend with. The manhunting pack is what happens when you don't listen to your vegan friend. Crazed animals will appear on your map and go straight for your colony. They will not enter houses except if they see someone going in or out. This means you can either wait inside for the animals to leave, or you can go outside and fight them. Tribals have only bows, spears, and knives, and absolutely no armor, while you have machine guns. Super easy, right? Well, that's what you think until you see 100 of them appear on your map while you only have 7 colonists. They are the swarm! Pirates and Outlanders don't have the numbers, but they have the technology. They will always be at the same level of research as you, if not better, and they will not be afraid to use this technology. Oh yeah! They may have sappers, which will destroy your walls. Those guys are the worst, because they can completely bypass your defenses. They choose where the fight will be, not you. They may not even bother going inside your base, because they can stay in the corner of the map and siege you with artillery strikes, which means you have to go out in the open and fight them. In that case, once again, your defenses mean nothing. And the third way pirates and outlanders can completely bypass your defenses are by simply raining from the sky in drop pods, landing in the middle of your base.
It's free real estate.
Well, I don't care. I'm going to live inside of a cave and I'm going to be safe. Well, let me introduce you to infestations. Infestations occur when you are in caves underneath a mountain. And yeah, there are insects that pop up from the ground right in the middle of your base, and they are really, really hard to deal with. I hate them. I think everyone hates them. Mechanoids, when you see them appear on your map, you're going to cry and you're going to scream. Like, they're so great and so cute. I mean, ah! I want to die inside when I see them. They have a lot of armor. They do a shit ton of damage. They come in numbers. The best tactic for them is to throw EMP grenades and to go in melee. But until you get to melee range, they will pulverize you with machine guns and snipers which penetrate armor. They have so much health they're so strong, it's really hard to deal with them. So yeah, good luck and go to therapy. So, once you win a raid with humans, you will notice that some of the guys are unconscious but still alive.
This is where the fun begins.
You can imprison them and convert them to your side, becoming colonists. Pfft, boring. Or you can capture them, harvest their organs for some good old cash, feed them to your colonists once they
Expire.
This is good soup.
and make some really good, cozy human leather chairs. That's right, don't let anything go to waste. But of course, winning and imprisoning people, this is the ideal scenario, but you are going to lose sometimes, and you are going to lose a lot. As I said before, this game is tough. How tough, you ask? Well... Rimworld has some classic difficulty settings, just written in a different way. But wait, there's more! Where the difficulty in Rimworld becomes different from every other game is in the storytellers, which are the different AIs who will send events, gifts, challenges your way during your entire playthrough. Cassandra Classic is the most video gamey one. Pretty classic, she will make the beginning easy enough and ramp up the challenges as time goes on. Phoebe Chillax is a weird one. She will basically give you a long time between events, sometimes in-game years, which can get a bit boring. But after a while, when she finally wakes up, she's not going to go easy on you, sending multiple and hard events at a time. She will destroy you. And finally, the man, the myth, the legend, Randy Random! He is considered by the fanbase as being the best way to experience Rimworld. As his name suggests, he is somewhat random. Other storytellers have a sleeping period between events that are pretty much static. You know what the duration is. But not this guy. He can do basically whatever he wants, whenever he wants. Some examples. He can send you a nice little tamed cute chinchilla while you are getting raided by pirates and all of your colonists catch malaria in the middle of a volcanic winter. And right after that, he will send you some drop pods with chocolate. Insanity! Yeah, so I'm not gonna lie. There are a lot of things to learn and the game is going to be unfair, so even when you learn all of the stuff, you are still going to lose. I don't know if you remember, or if you paid attention, but yeah, Tynan's philosophy was to create a story generator. He wanted people to feel emotions, and those emotions include grief, sadness, and anger. Because you are going to lose, and it's part of the game, don't worry about it. Because whenever you lose people, the wealth of your colony will go down, and the AI storyteller will ease up on you. So you have the chance to rebuild your colony. Sometimes it's the story of one person losing an entire colony, losing all of his friends and being the sole survivor, and then he rebuilds it. Maybe he recruit new friends and remarry, create new relationships, rebuild, and you can create a new and beautiful colony out of the ruins of the older colony. And personally, I think it's a really great design choice because you will always be able to learn from your mistakes and go forward, and you will get attached to your colonists because you know that none of them are safe, but you will fight for them and you will get attached to them. But let me talk about some bullshit though. Randy? I've had entire playthroughs where I start with the Rich Explorer scenario. That means I only had one colonist, and on my first day, Mr. Randy decided to give my only colonist the plague. So thank you, Randy. My only colonist died in like 3 days. I didn't even have time to build the house. So yeah, thank you, Randy. But I think it's okay. Because sometimes it's complete bullshit, you're going to lose your colonist in 2 days, but what do you care? I mean, 2 days in game is like what, 15 minutes in real life? But for new players, I would highly recommend you to start with Cassandra Classic on the lower difficulties because you will be overwhelmed by the needs of your colonists and all of the menus and mechanics. Also, since there are a shit ton of mechanics to look up in Rimworld, do not be afraid to go and check out tutorials on YouTube or on forums. Speaking of... I have rarely seen a video game community that is as active and non-toxic as Rimworld's. There are entire subreddits dedicated to helping new players understand the mechanics of the Rimworld. And there are some really good YouTube channels out there that have exhaustive tutorials that will help you master this game. Go and watch them if you struggle with the game. They are smaller channels and definitely need the shout out for me. Okay, I'll shut up now. But forums in YouTube are not the only places where the community is active. Let me ask you some questions. How is Skyrim still relevant today? And why is Warcraft 3 considered to be one of the most influential games of all time? If you answered mods, you are correct. And if not, may Randy have mercy on your soul, little one. Skyrim has remained relevant for more than 10 years because it was opened for modding. People have fixed bugs, improved graphics, created new weapons, quests, and even entire DLC-sized mods. As for Warcraft 3, it is considered to be so influential because there were entire genres of gaming that were created using their editor. I am talking MOBA, tower defense, and I even recall playing a scenario in Warcraft 3 that was basically Among Us. When you open your game for modding, you empower the community to add content to the game. They don't do this for money because most of the mods are free. They do it from a place of love, which will extend the lifetime of a game way beyond the norm. Rimworld is no exception to this rule. There are tens of thousands of mods created for it, and the community is still very active, creating new mods and updating older ones. This is one of the reasons why Rimworld is still becoming more and more popular even 5 years later. You see that? You see this guy right there? His name is Alistair Lindsay and he created some really juicy music for Rimworld. Since Rimworld is supposed to be a sci-fi western, I believe the music he composed is very well done for this genre. You can feel the bionic cowboy riding in the wind on his horse, going to harvest some organs and selling them for some whiskey. The Rimworld soundtracks can be divided into two categories, chill and combat. The calm sounds will play whenever you are just living your day-to-day life in the colony, and when you are raided, a combat music will start to play. In my opinion, the music of Rimworld is very cool. Let me show you some examples. I don't know if you noticed, but there are not a lot of instruments or different sounds in the music, which is normal, because once again, in the vision of Rimworld, all of the graphics and music are supposed to blend into the background. It's supposed to be there just for the atmosphere, and I think it does its job pretty well. I believe this game has a really hard difficulty curve, and I believe that this is Rimworld's biggest drawback. It is not very attractive to new players. However, I believe that if you take the time to learn the mechanics and all of the 21,000 menus, you will find a really detailed and enjoyable experience. And you will begin to see all of those things that made it hard for you as mechanics which bring immersion to the game. You have so many tools for managing your colony that you really feel invested in it, and after a time you will get attached to your colonists as they live, build relations, get sad, happy, and sometimes die. The storyteller mechanic is very interesting because it feels like anything can happen at any moment. All of those events are different, they may be good or unfair. It's just like in real life. The music and the graphics are designed to blend into the background and push this immersion onto you. And when you are building your colony, getting attached to the colonists, surviving some brutal events, listening to the music, you will get immersed in this game, and you will feel emotions such as loss, affection, betrayal, pride, joy, and stress. And after playing this game for a couple of hours, you too will have a story to tell. Ah! Well, they kicked me out. Never mind, I'm not salty. I was done with Rimworld anyway. Well, I guess I need a new home now. I'm gonna leave you until I find it. Thank you for watching whatever that was. I don't know. I was improvising the whole time. If you have any ideas for other videos you want me to make, maybe talk about your favorite games, don't hesitate to leave a comment down below. If you liked the video, like it. If you didn't like it, be nice. Okay? See you next time, guys. Bye! Wait, is that a trapdoor?